With the recent releases of both a major free update and the new Cataclysm expansion, World of Warcraft has changed forever. Entire regions have been brilliantly redesigned following the Dragon Deathwing's destructive flyover, and you don't actually need Cataclysm or either of the earlier expansions to explore or quest in them. That's great for low-level characters, but what if you're level 80 or thereabouts? If that's the case, you definitely want Cataclysm. This expansion isn't aimed at new or low-level players, but that doesn't mean that it has nothing to offer them. The new playable Goblin and Worgen races aren't particularly exciting, but their starter zones are great fun to play through, and the two of them could hardly be more different. The Worgens is reminiscent of Victorian England during a werewolf epidemic, while the Goblins is practically futuristic by WoW standards, with flashing signs that you can admire from the comfort of a hot rod. These starter zones, like those that have been redesigned elsewhere in the game, do a great job of making your character feel important from the outset, as opposed to someone who starts out performing menial tasks and killing unsuspecting wildlife. There's never been a better time to come to World of Warcraft as a new player. Not only are the starter areas more fun, but the game does a much better job of teaching you how to play your chosen class. Even if you've been playing WoW since day one, you can have a lot of fun creating a new character. Just don't plan on using them to check out the new archaeology profession. While archaeology is available to low-level characters, it's best avoided at least until you have a character with a flying mount. On paper, archaeology seems like it would be one of the most compelling professions in the game, but in practice, it's a time-consuming grind that mostly just rewards luck. Traveling to and surveying dig sites isn't much fun, and to make matters worse, the vast majority of the artifacts that you end up with are useless vendor trash. There are some very desirable rare and epic items that you can find if you're lucky, but the system is completely random. And at the end of the day, there are much more enjoyable ways to get your hands on comparable loot. For starters, there are 5 new high-level zones that boast way more than enough quests to get you from level 80 to the new cap of 85. Like the zones from the original game that have been revamped, each of Cataclysm's zones has its own story to tell and is almost entirely self-contained. Things feel less organic now that the quests don't nudge you towards other zones, but simply moving from the one zone to the next is ultimately a better system, because you're more likely to see quest chains and storylines through to their satisfying and occasionally spectacular conclusions. You'll almost certainly reach level 85 before finishing 4 or even 3 of the new zones, but you'll still want to play through the others, not only because they're a lot of fun, but also because that's the only way to unlock faction vendors, repeatable daily quests, and portals to and from your capital city. All 5 of the high-level Cataclysm zones make extensive use of the phasing technology that was introduced but used sparingly in Wrath of the Lich King. As you progress through each zone's quests, your actions have an impact on the world around you that isn't necessarily visible to other players. Key characters appear in different places, significant enemies don't respawn after you've killed them, and even the scenery changes on occasion. By the time you finish in a zone, you really feel like time has passed and that you've made a difference, which definitely beats wiping out an enemy force only to see it causing chaos again a few minutes later.
I hope you have a strong stomach.
Highlights of Cataclysm include the striking underground zone of Deepholm and the turbulent underwater realm of Vashj'ir. The former is a gigantic cave that's illuminated only by shards of crystals and the like, while the latter is a beautiful ocean environment that takes in coral reefs and ancient ruins. While admiring the scenery, be sure to look out for dungeon entrances, because in Cataclysm you need to find those before you can join groups using the superb Dungeon Finder tool. Cataclysm adds 7 new 5-player dungeons to World of Warcraft, all with regular and heroic difficulty options. Heroic versions of the classic Deadmines and Shadowfang Keep dungeons are also available, as well as new raids for larger groups. Dungeons are certain to get easier over time as players gain access to better armor and weapons, but a week or 2 after Cataclysm's launch, they still demand good teamwork and in some cases crowd control. You should find this challenge refreshing if you've spent the last year cruising through Wrath of the Lich King dungeons in heroic mode. And you certainly shouldn't expect to be running Cataclysm's dungeons in heroic mode right away. That's because where previously you could skip the normal difficulty dungeons completely and just go straight to the more challenging ones where better gear is up for grabs, you now have to equip a certain quality of gear before you're allowed into the heroics. Dungeons not your thing? Once you hit level 85, you also have the option to participate in PvP on 2 new battlegrounds and in a new zone called Tolbarad that's reminiscent of Wrath of the Lich King's Winter Grasp. Tolbarad has some issues, and that it's much easier to play as a defender than it is as an attacker, but WoW PvP is as much fun as it's ever been. Whether you're taking part in large-scale PvP, running dungeons in a group, or just questing on your own, you can now earn both experience points for your guild and reputation points for yourself within your guild by doing so. Guild levels, achievements, perks, and rewards are all new features introduced in Cataclysm, and they're good incentives for guilds to work together and stay together. As guilds level up, members automatically gain perks that include everything from small experience and mount speed bonuses to instant mail between guild members and the ability to summon an entire raid group to the same spot simultaneously. In addition, guilds that level up and complete achievements together gain the ability to purchase items that can't be obtained in any other way, including pets, mounts, and heirloom items. World of Warcraft has something for everyone right now. After 6 years of iterations on what was already a superb formula, this phenomenally popular MMO is in the best shape of its life. Areas of the world that were starting to show their age have been updated, new players are being made to feel more welcome than ever, and Cataclysm has added enough great new content to keep most players entertained for many months to come. Cataclysm doesn't improve World of Warcraft as dramatically as the free update that preceded it, and some aspects of it are a little disappointing, but it's still a great expansion pack for anyone with high-level characters.